I want to play you a clip. This is about getting back to the fighting aspect of this whole deal. I want to play you this clip from Molly Qerim where she makes the insinuation that fighting in hockey is tolerated and embraced and celebrated, primarily because it's a bunch of white players. She played the race card, but let's play the clip.
It's just interesting to me that certain sports you're allowed to fight and other sports could never happen.
And by the way,
optics!
In international competition over the last 50 years, they've had a total of 5 fights. USA and Canada, they had 3 and 9 seconds on Saturday night. That drove me crazy. Number 2.
Just a little hypocrisy.
Optics and hypocrisy. Molly, if the players in the NBA wanted fighting, it would happen. Adam Silver does what the players want. And the players, they don't want those stakes. Well, in their minds, like, man, I'm making 20, 30, 40, $50 million a year. I don't want to have to fight for this. I don't want to potentially lose a tooth for this. They're happy that the stakes have been lowered in men's basketball. Again, look at the load management. LeBron James just took, oh, my ankle's sore, let me take a game off. The players want it easier, and partially it's because the fans and the media don't demand that they do anything hard. We think it's our job, particularly at ESPN and particularly in legacy media, to hey, whatever the players want, we got to give it to them. And whatever we can do to make it easier on the players, we got to give it to them. They don't, Molly doesn't fully realize it, but she's typical feminist that doesn't want men challenged because she knows that challenges, rites of passages, the harder we make things for men, the stronger men become. She doesn't fully get all that. She's just caught up in safety, and she's probably sitting there as a woman. Well, I wouldn't want to fight. I could break my fingernails, or my eyelashes might fall out. She's just bringing that female mentality. And again, this is where I say, you drop women into these conversations, and it just feminizes and softens the conversation, and no one can say what they really think. That no, the reason guys aren't fighting in the NBA is because the players don't want it. They want it soft and easy, and it's hurting the game.
Honestly, if Mad Dog was brave enough to ask her a follow-up question, I guarantee you Molly Qerim would say, yeah, I think black players in the NBA, because it's a major black sport, them fighting, they'd be called gangsters and thugs. But white people are able to get away with it. It's funny to me, Jason, I would love to be a fly on the wall for the production meetings for pretty much every major show at ESPN. I'm sure they're like, yeah, we got a few good storylines. This is the biggest hockey game we've seen since maybe the Miracle on Ice. People care about this more than the Stanley Cup. They cover the NHL and cover those big games. They have the broadcasting rights. And they get to a point where they're like, you know what? How can we make this about race? How can we racially divide people? How can we bring up black victimization? You know what? We'll send one of our feminists out there, one of our female hosts that can't give any good analysis about hockey, any good analysis about sports, but just keep the conversation going about race. But people are sick of it. I know we're going to talk about a little bit later. Everything is about race. And then I think people are realizing they just want to watch sports. It's about meritocracy, not diversity, equity, inclusion. It's not about black excellence. It's not about, elevating a certain race group over another. It's about, if you're the best player, you play. If you're the best coach, you coach. There's going to be people in the building tonight watching this hockey game. They have no idea how the people to their right and their left voted. They have no idea what their socioeconomic status is. They could probably guess because tickets are pretty expensive. But they're just there because they're rooting for this team or they're rooting for that team. That's sports. And people want to watch it because they got some national pride. And it's not about, I wish there was some more black representation out there on the ice. Then I'd be really excited about this game tonight.
There's an animus in the NBA and throughout professional sports, but it's really, really acute and obvious in the NBA. And it's because of the way the arenas are set up in terms of fans can get courtside seats, hecklers can be heard very easily by the players, and hecklers can be heard in hockey, but there is glass separating the players from the fans. And so the NBA is a bit more intimate. And so this is why their entire effort is to turn down the temperature in basketball arenas. They don't want fans yelling certain things. The players seem to have a great deal of animus towards the fans, no respect for them. Is there an element of that within hockey, within the NHL, where the players have some animus and lack of respect for the actual fans in the arena?
Yeah, I think with hockey, it's a part of the game. Fighting's a part of the game. Like, we just got to put that out there. That's been essential in hockey for a long time.
Different question, though. Hold on, I'm asking a different question, though. It's commonplace, in my view, for NBA players to express their animus towards fans. They talk about it in interviews, they'll tweet about, just what Kevin Durant just did. Hey, you don't like it, go someplace else. What's the mentality of the average NHL player as it relates? Is there some animus? That this is kind of pervasive throughout professional sports where the actual professional athletes don't like the fans. Is that true in the NHL?
I don't think so. I think there's more of a respect for fans in the NHL. They want to put on a good show, and you'll see with the last game, USA versus Canada, you got one of the smallest dudes on the ice fighting one of the biggest dudes for Canada. They don't care and they're just there to put on a good show. But I feel like it's tough, Jason, because you have the situations that happened to Kyrie Irving. You had people throwing stuff at him onto the court a few years ago in the NBA, and there's a major disrespect there. I feel with everything becoming so corporate that you're not really seeing as much passion for the game, especially in the NBA. Like, I grew up in the Bay Area, Jason. Like, I went to Rorical. Like, that was the best place to watch basketball. It was unreal. And you got an absolute dump of Oakland, and then this little mecca, if you will, right here. People were able to get away from the craziness of life in that area, and it wasn't about, what kind of corporate sponsors do we have? What kind of, luxury seats do we have at this game? You have people there that are just excited to watch a game and motivated to cheer their team on. There's a lot more respect in the NHL for the fan base. And I think through that, you want to put on a better show because there's a respect and there's a camaraderie, I feel like NHL players have with the fan base than you'll see in the NBA.
I'm going to tell you why you're 1,000% right. Take LeBron James. He sees himself as an owner. He owns a stake in a Premier League soccer team. He's got his own media company. He sees himself as the equal of ownership. He sees himself as a king. And kings want to be treated royally.